So welcome back to DecoyNoise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist? And am I the antagonist for taking my daughter's violin away? So as we go on, I was actually supposed to clean my act up and make myself all clean shaven with a nice haircut after I went back to work, and it just didn't happen. I'm always wearing a mask. There's no barber to go to right now, so if you want to get your Am I the Antagonist content through a bootleg yoga instructor guy, you've come to the right place, and make sure you subscribe. But let's go ahead and get to the story right now. So OP wrote, my daughter, a 15-year-old, and I, a 38-year-old, moved into my boyfriend's house, a 56-year-old, a month ago. We've been dating since March and wanted to take this next step in our relationship. When we moved in, all I asked of my daughter was that she respect that this was my boyfriend's home and to be respectful towards him. As with practically all apartments in New York City, space is limited. Therefore, every time my daughter practices her violin, everyone else can hear. This has proved to be an annoyance to my boyfriend, and one of his house rules is that she practice when he's not home. Flash forward to last week, I wake her up to her playing away. My boyfriend is already at his desk working on a project for work, and he says he's so annoyed and can't focus right now. My boyfriend goes in her room and asks if she forgot the house rules. She retorts that she has a virtual audition in a couple hours and needed to practice. I told her not to wait until the last minute to practice, but she did so anyway. It was 7 and my boyfriend's work presentation was at 9. My daughter's audition was at 10. So I tell her to wait until he leaves the house and she'll still have time to warm up. We leave her and soon after, we hear her plucking the strings and obviously moving her bow. My boyfriend goes in it again and she tells him to go to the lobby and work there. I didn't like my daughter's tone. She also clearly wasn't going to stop making noise, so I end up taking her violin and bow away until my boyfriend leaves for work. My daughter is so mad that she's shaking when I give her stuff back. She also said she needs to do more than a warm-up and threw a tantrum before her audition. Now it's a week later and she found out that she didn't make it into the orchestra. She locked herself in her room and calls her stepfather Hitler and doesn't talk to me at all. Am I the antagonist? I was reacting to her disobeying a clear directive from me. She also disrespects the man that I love by kicking him out of his own home. The lobby of our apartment is used a lot and poses a health risk to my boyfriend, and he needs to give it 100% at his job. Also, my daughter has plenty of time to practice before the day of. So as always, I take the case over to the Decoy Court where I give you my knee-jerk reaction to the situation. And honestly, it's like, I understand that you wouldn't want to hear violin while you're playing, you wouldn't want to hear a violin playing while you're trying to work, you know? But at 56, you're working from home, and you can afford a New York City apartment, you'd think that he also could afford some noise-canceling headphones or AirPods or just something like that. But I get it, it's your place, it's your rules, so you should be able to say, hey, no violin or, play when I'm not around. But I feel like if you're moving in with your 2 decades younger girlfriend with a teenage daughter, you should expect some added noise in your home. And, the daughter and the new boyfriend are just trying to learn how to coexist, so there's going to be some rough patches. But OP tried to tell the daughter that she would need to practice at another time or in a different area or something, and it just seems that the teenage daughter is acting out like a teenager. So she's going to try to push the boundaries, she's going to try to be a bit antagonizing, plucking the strings, moving the bow, and the boyfriend even gave her an alternative, but the daughter didn't like it, obviously, so now the daughter's name-calling the boyfriend that they're living in his home and just, he has boundaries, so he's Hitler. Like, that's a bit extreme. So it makes sense that there's going to be a lot of tension all around. Insert violin joke here, a pun here. But the idea is, like, there's probably a more gentler approach to getting the daughter reacclimated to living with a new father figure in a strange environment, which is likely where this drama is actually stemming from. The sink is backed up all the way down to the pipes, but they're trying to blame the faucet right now. So I just say, let's just go ahead and move over to the decoy defense. And the idea is, one factor we're not really hearing right now is the daughter is terrible at violin. Maybe the boyfriend is a director for the New York Symphony, which is part of why OP and the boyfriend met. So the daughter keeps on trying to show the boyfriend her skills, and he's trying to gently put it down like, I can't hear this right now. But nah, daughter's always got to play that one part of that song from Titanic, and it's just awful. The and that's a terrible rendition, but that's exactly how she sounds when she's trying to show off her violin skills. And not to be a snob, but oftentimes people high up in their specialties are irked by inferior work. Screenwriters and directors are often hypersensitive to just terrible movies when they're watching them. LeBron would probably spit in my face if he ever saw me attempt a jump shot. And this guy literally bleeds from his ears when he hears the daughter play violin. So it's not her fault. She just doesn't have the gift, and that's perfectly fine. But I guess let's take the decoy defense out of the situation, and I'm gonna go ahead and say everyone sucks here at some level. OP sucks because they likely aren't acclimating the daughter correctly to the new father figure and living in a stranger's home. The boyfriend sucks because he should know if you date a 20-year-old younger girl, you're going to have issues that you would have had in his 30s, which includes teenage daughter drama. And the daughter sucks because she knows the rules and she's just trying to toe the line, you know, like, I'm not touching you, or I'm not practicing, you know, like that whole sort of thing right there, which she can hardly be the one to blame right now because there's so many extra circumstances going on, which, you know, it's just everyone could probably be treating this better, which is kind of like you guys watching right now. Like, half of you guys are watching the videos and are just like, I'm not subscribing, I'm not doing it. So let's take that short break and make sure you guys have the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You know, go ahead and turn the notifications on as well. Comment your thoughts before we hit the top comments, and just kind of let me know what you think, which makes me say, let's go ahead and cover the... This thing never wants to work. Okay, there we go. Check out the top comment from before from Griffo Cold saying, Decoy's arms are a mile long to make that decoy defense reach, which I really appreciate. You're reading the comments and you're watching the decoy defense, and oftentimes a lot of these guys online are just indefensible. They have these really ridiculous ways of approaching their situation. So I really have to stretch and say, you know, extra stuff to make the decoy defense, because I would be the best internet attorney for online drama. But let's go ahead and say, make your comments down below, and let's go ahead and read that top comment right now. So the top comment is, you're the antagonist. You moved in with your boyfriend after 3 months of dating and basically told your daughter her goals don't mean anything and boyfriend is king. It might be his home, but thanks to you, now hers as well. Big fat parenting fail, mom. So I do agree with a lot of what they're saying, that they need to get the daughter acclimated, but honestly, there has to be a level of... They need to be able to parent the daughter. Like, okay, look, we're going to tell you this is when you can and cannot practice violin. Maybe there is a situation that, you know, the daughter's father's house where she's allowed to play it all the time. Who knows what it is, but at some point in time, they do need to be able to parent the kid and say, here's some rules, here's some boundaries. Don't call your stepdad, well, not stepdad, just the person, don't call the person that we're living in this home Hitler because he has rules right now, and he just give 100% to his job, which makes sense. Like, you know, they couldn't probably live in that New York apartment without his contributions financially. So there's somewhere in the middle, but yeah, I agree, the OP is the antagonist, but a bit of everybody around. Let's go ahead and read the next reply saying, calls him her stepfather. This poor little girl is going through a lot right now. Can't even have the stability of playing her violin, which is true. That's why I said the whole sink thing, like the pipe is clogged, but let's blame the faucet for making the water come up. And the idea is there's other things going on. It's not really necessarily the violin that's causing this argument. It's just the whole situation. But the next top comment that has flame emojis is, you're the antagonist. You upended your daughter's life to move into an apartment that isn't big enough just because you've been going out with this guy for 3 months. That's why it makes you the antagonist. Edit, he's also not her stepfather. He's your short-term boyfriend who you inexplicably moved in with after 3 months. So the one thing I would say with this whole situation right now is the idea that, yeah, you moved in with him early, all this situation, but we don't know the financial situation. Were they going to be homeless in the next week? Do they having, you know, was she out of a job because of the whole lockdown situation? And this isn't the ideal situation. Like, everybody's blaming her for not being a millionaire, affording her own New York City apartment, being like all these sitcom moms who are just like, oh yeah, we'll make it by, what's that show, Felicity? No, wait. I don't know. Insert drama here. There's lots of shows where it's just like a single mom struggling with their daughter, but they still own a house or an apartment in New York, and it's just all fine and dandy. It's like, what if they were just broke, and, you know, the violin is a signification that they have money, but you don't know if that was from when, you know, the OP was still with the father, he was in the picture, or what the whole situation is. So they're yelling at her for moving them into an apartment, but that may or may not have been her choice. So let's go ahead and read a reply to that saying, agreed. She has 3 years before her child is an adult. What a selfish move. Grow up, OP. Don't make your daughter suffer for your illogical, ill-thought-out decision. She's the one without the fully developed frontal lobe, but not you, OP. You're the antagonist. So I do get that they want to defend the daughter and all that situation, but there's one thing I feel like all these people are throwing out is the idea that OP needs to be able to parent their daughter, even if it's going to be unpopular opinions with her. And two, the idea that this may or may not have been her ideal situation. Yeah, you moved in with your boyfriend too early. How dare you? How dare you? What if she had no other option? What if she had a great job this entire time? She was like a commission employee over at the you know, New York City jewelry store and was making a grip of money, and all of a sudden they shut them down. So her 6-figure income just disappeared in an instant, and now she's just like, oh crap, you know, what do I do? And maybe we don't even know. Maybe she even caught the disease too, and then she had to be isolated for a long time, you know, all racking up all these medical debts and all this lack of income, and, you know, not cutting into her daughter's violin classes, and, you know, selling off her $1,000 violin, like really trying to make it work. And now she has essentially a sugar daddy saying, hey, you can come move in with me. Like, let's say that I hate to blast on people for jumping to conclusions, but what if she's not even attracted to a new boyfriend? It's just a way for the girl to get to go through school, having, you know, clothes on her back, food on her plate, and also go to the college of her choice without being affected by the whole lockdown situation. And the mother OP is just taking this really, really big sacrifice on the daughter's behalf. Maybe that's a situation. So take that Reddit. You know, you guys people oftentimes like to say on Reddit, the first comments will identify, you know, oh, this is the person's side we're taking. They just kind of all pile onto that. But what if it was the inverse of that, and then OP just didn't like the verbal abuse they were taking online, or the written abuse, whatever that may be, but the abuse they were taking online, and just decided, you know, I'm not going to reply to all you guys are wrong, you don't know half the story, they put it wrong, so who knows. But let's see what's going on. Maybe we can go to the controversial section and see what everybody else is saying. So the top controversial comment was, if it was just a normal practice that was coming up, then I would say not the antagonist, because if the boyfriend spends a majority of the day out of the house, then she'll have more than enough time to practice. However, this isn't the case, and she had a performance coming up. As a musician, let me tell you that it's incredibly nerve-wracking in the moments leading up to a performance, and you should be spending as much time as you can that day to practice a piece, unless you know that it'll stress you out more. You're the antagonist, big time. Performances are big, and quite honestly, it's probably your fault that she didn't make the orchestra due to being in a bad mindset. Very true. Could have been a thing where she probably could have made it, but she's so racked up. Like, why don't we live with dad anymore? Why don't we have an old house over in the country? We had plenty of space and extra material. Now we live in this tiny apartment in New York City with some old dude I don't even know. Like, I hate everything about this, and now you're taking my violin away because I'm trying to make a better life for herself. Maybe it wasn't just an orchestra that was just going to be a regular thing. It was an orchestra that was going to get her a scholarship to, like, you know, get her into Juilliard or whatever. That's the only performing arts school I know about. But the idea is there's lots more to the situation, and I understand that I am very back and forth right now, arguing on both sides of it. But that's why you tune into DecoyNoise. So let's go and get to the next reply, saying, you're the antagonist. This story is so clearly false it hurts. I don't understand how they could jump to that conclusion. Agreed, even more so when OP never replies to the comments. And the one thing I will say is, when I had my fake stories online, I would do the comments and I would try to reply and do some edits, but oftentimes a narrative gets ahead of you and you just don't want to reply to it. You log in, and not only are the comments on the post itself just bashing you for things like maybe they just didn't include the fact that they're poor and that she doesn't like the new boyfriend, but she just needs to do it financially, and didn't want to, like, you know, frame it that way. She just wanted to frame it with the OP and the daughter's interaction, and the idea is, yeah, it probably would have bolstered her situation, so maybe she should have included that, but now the story's so far away from her, and everybody's just hating on her so much that she just like, you know what, I'm not going to take this verbal abuse anymore, delete the account, walk away from the situation, never log in again, because why would you do that? So many people talk about, you know, the idea that, like, you know, social media is addictive because you go on there and people are hating on you so much. Well, if she's at 38 years old, maybe she's beyond the fact that, you know, she doesn't need the validation of going online, posting something. When people don't agree with you, I need to correct it. Oh, there you go. I need to correct the situation. I need to tell you why you're wrong. Maybe she just doesn't want to go back and forth, and she wants to get back on track with her daughter and have that kind of conversation one-on-one with her, which is probably the better scenario in my mind. But who knows? We're just kind of jumping to conclusions all over the place. So if you like the way this video goes, make sure you subscribe down below with the notifications on, because I would like to think that I do a bit of a different take on Am I the Antagonist and Reddit threads, or just more of my input. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit that Decoy voice link down below. Subscribe over there. I'll do some more serious topics on trending things that are going online that aren't just limited to Reddit only. It'll still be kind of the same Decoy defense type of content. But if you like me and you want to see more of this stuff, be sure to subscribe to that channel over there. But as always, if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say I appreciate you hanging out with me, even though I promised that I was going to get more clean cut as I went back to work. That was a lie, because I'm wearing a mask all the time. There's no barber, so whatever it may be, I'm just gonna look really bummy for the foreseeable future. If you like this content, make sure you share it with somebody else, or you put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.